Next up on the show, we turn our attention to the Jersey Shore, where it looks like, and I don't want to jinx it, but there might just be some sunshine this weekend. Something's been sorely lacking on the weekend cards. PTF back with you, excited to look at these races. We're going to bring in a guest who covers Monmouth for us on inthemoneypodcast.com, where you can find loads of free analysis most every racing day. New feature on that website too. I just wanted to shine a little light on. I've been with a little bit of help putting together a, maybe call it a daily roundup post as a featured post on there. It will highlight some of the top stories in racing. It will also highlight whatever is new on In the Money, whether that is on the written side, on the video side, on the podcast side. Just check it out. You go to inthemoneypodcast.com. It'll be right there. A man who's really helped that website become something I think is pretty special joins me now, covering Monmouth for us at this time of year, covering different tracks at different times. Eric Solomon, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Peter. How are you?
Things are good. Really excited as we get here on the eve of Belmont week. Another note I've been passing along to people, usually this week, right before Belmont, this is the traditional pick your prize date for the Big Monmouth contest. That's actually this year, the week after, making it coincide with the big Haskell preview day. So I'm pumped about that. How have you been doing at Monmouth so far?
I'm doing all right. You're trying to hang in there. I know the weather was rough last week, so a lot of races taken off the turf, short fields. But I think this is a nice card just to start off or to end the month here and kind of move into that. Also, keep in mind they have a feeder tournament for the today or for Saturday down at Monmouth to get a couple seats in for the pick your prize there. So Brian Skirka always working hard, doing a great job there. So that's and they're taking races from Monmouth and Churchill. So good opportunities there if you're in the area or betting online.
Yeah, that's a great point. MonmouthPark.com. That'll have all the details on that. You can reach out to Brian directly with questions or just hit me up. That same website, inthemoneypodcast.com. The contact button goes straight to my personal email. Let's dive into these races. We'll start off looking at we'll look at the late pick 5, 50 cent minimum. Starts off in race number 4, maiden claiming 40. How do you want to light this candle?
I think the favorite's pretty good. I think Seeking Serenity for Kathleen O'Connell ran a nice race at Tampa on debut. A little lesser competition. I don't know if this is the strongest group of maiden claimers here. It was a strong race. Figure came back strong. I think this horse has a chance to just kind of run another similar race, and that could be good enough here. Also look at using the Jersey bred Luciana, who's coming out of a nice race. First off, came back 2 weeks ago, first off the layoff. Solid effort for Pat McBurney. Ran second. And last flag flying ran a pretty good race that day. She was second in her first start back, showed some improvement. I think she's a horse that can move forward here. So I think those are the two that I want in this race.
You were reading my mail or vice versa here. My exact two numbers, 7 and 5. I was thinking the favorite Seeking Serenity would be not too far back and looks to have the finish to be a threat. And maybe, just maybe, Luciana the 5, if it doesn't work out that way, if the 7 gets a little lost early, maybe could be very dangerous from the front end. Give me 7 and 5 and move on with life. And as we move on with life, we move on to race number 5, which is salty little 5.5 furlong turf allowance for fillies 3 and up. I was going to try to see if we could get I'm Wishing Upon a Star, the 2-runner in here, maybe loose on the lead, or maybe not loose on the lead, but maybe best of speed from that inside position. I just really like that turf race that's now 4 back, making a middle move there into a fast pace, sticking on okay. Maybe, just maybe, she's better on turf, rising, well, not really rising anymore, but now in the midst of the 4-year-old season. I thought there were a few arrows pointing in this direction. I respected the favorite, number 6, Carolyn. I'm not sure how we say this one. Caroline, perhaps, second off the layoff. Another one getting back onto turf. And just looking at old figures, you can make a case she's better. This is just a 3-year-old, plenty of room for improvement. Coming out of that stakes race, pretty obvious one. 2 and 6 for me in race number 5. How did you see it?
I like Clay Soldier here, the 8. Another horse that has some good turf lines. I'm willing to kind of draw a line through that last one. Now makes a start from Michael Simone, whose horses have been. He's got some horses that have come here, have run some nice races at this meet. Go back. There's some nice form at Woodbine on the turf, with against better opposition. I think compared to what seeing today. Does want to be forward, so I think she's one that could kind of press the pace with your 2 horse there. I do want horses that have some tactical speed at this 5.5 furlong distance at Monmouth, and this will be the first time this year where the rails will be all the way down, and that typically is historically at Monmouth. Closer to the pace you are, you're usually a little bit better on this turf course. So we'll see how that plays out here. But I think the 8 horse from that post can kind of work out a good stalking trip. I'm with you on Caroline. Caroline, didn't love her as the favorite here, but certainly makes a lot of sense in this spot. And then another horse I might throw in here, the 9, Chit Chat. I like the last effort at Laurel at 5.5. Again, might be a little bit too far back, so it might be a better horse for underneath, but maybe a little bit of value. Manny Franco coming in to ride some horses for the stakes races. He's got the mount on this one.
Yeah, lots of good ideas, plenty of ways to go in that one. If we can be narrow in the first race, that's probably one where you want to have a few different runners on your tickets. Let's go to the hinge of this late pick 5, race number 6. We've got a claimer for Jersey Breds, high price claimer for Jersey Breds, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. Eric, we'll keep it with you.
This is a tricky race. So you've got half the field coming out of an allowance race on opening day, where the track was labeled fast and sealed. It was pretty wet at that point of the day. It was kind of another one of those kind of miserable May days and the weekends here in the Mid Atlantic here. Cairo Surprise won that race. That's a really nice horse. Maybe kind of staking his claim as one of the better Jersey Breds in training right now. Dominated that race. So you've got 5 horses that were kind of well behind. Happy Offering was the best of those clearly that day, but you think that that's a pretty big figure jump, even though it was first start as a 4-year-old. So you could argue that, but I'm just wondering if that number is inflated because of the wet track. I'm going to try and beat this one and hope for a bounce. There's 3 horses that I'm kind of interested here. Two of them are half siblings here and kind of bookending the field. I think Holiday Express is interesting in this spot. Third off the left, coming out of that same race. You're going to have to excuse some bad form lately. There's the 3 starts in a row where this one's been absolutely up the track. Go back, you could probably make an excuse for all of those starts. Probably didn't want any part of the 2 turns 3 starts ago at Laurel. And again, it was a decent field, and the figure wasn't terrible for that race despite getting crushed. So obviously that was a good field. Came back at Laurel in April, most likely needed that race. Again, another really strong race, next out winner in that open allowance. Came here to State Bread Company on the inside. I don't know if the rail was the best place to be on that day with that track. It didn't really show up. I'm willing to draw a line through that one. Gets a little bit of class relief here. I think this horse makes sense. I don't think we're going to get 20 to 1, but 8, 10 to 1, I think I'm pretty comfortable with this horse. Sir Newton's Law is another horse coming out of that same race. Again, I'm just going to be willing to give a pass for a lot of horses from that spot because I think the other races make sense. Maybe the 6 furlongs touch short for this one, but again, I think fits with this level. And then the half brother to the 1, Superfractor, 3-year-old coming off looked nice here at 2, strong maiden win, second time start. We'll see what this one has off the first time off the bench for Perkins, but Kendrick Carmouche takes the ride. So I think that one's worth including there. So I'm 1-6-10 in this spot.
I think you will get your price on this Holiday Express. I mean, you made a very cogent case, but just looking at the lines, beaten 24, 21, and 19 in the last 3, everything you're saying makes sense, but the public doesn't typically gravitate towards horses like this. So I'm going to throw this one in on your. I was not clever enough to come up with him on my own, but I'm going to throw in on your say so, because if we can get a runner like this in there, I think that could really jack things up. I was much more master of the obvious in this spot. I took the one who ran. I take your point against him, but in my original reckoning of the race, I was just thinking Happy Offering as the one who was best out of the common race. I was taking that jump more seriously. But I take your point. Sloppy track, 50-1 that day. Could have been something anomalous in there. But if the improvement is real from 3 to 4, might be a handful against this bunch. Of the ones you mentioned, the one that I had most on my radar was Superfractor. I thought that Kendrick showing up was a sign of intent. First time gelding. Plenty of arrows pointing in this direction. I want some 10s as well. But this is another race where I don't mind the idea of getting a few extra numbers in there. Let's go to the stake race on the card, the featured race number 7, the Cliffhanger. We're a mile and a 16th on the turf. I was wondering, do we think There Are No Words is going to be ready off the layoff? Because if so, based on these figures, based on this running style, might be able to lead these on a merry chase. That was my top pick, but very curious to hear what you think is going to happen in the Cliffhanger.
I mean, he pretty much had identical, running lines last year, came back in this spot after, ended the season in the middle of October, and just was flat in this spot last year. Showed a little bit of early zip and then had nothing left. The track was labeled good that day, but look, the final time wasn't really that far off. It was probably a little closer to firm than good, I think. And then this one kind of steadily got better, and that's kind of been the pattern with this one. So I'm going to try to beat There Are No Words. I think the Chad Brown horse makes a ton of sense here, coming first time import. Horses sired by Kingman Love coming to Monmouth, and it was I didn't run the updated numbers from last year. I was having trouble with my computer last night, but I know last year number I think was 24% winners for Kingman sired horses at Monmouth. Chad Brown brought 60 horses here last year. 20 of them found the winner's circle. It was, I think, a win back behind for leading trainer with only making 60 starters. He's only sent 7 horses here. 4 of them have won. So clearly he's finding the right horses in the right spots at Monmouth. So this one's pretty hard to leave off the ticket for me. I'm going to make the 4-horse Neat my top pick. Got to excuse some recent form again. It is a horse that's a grade 2 winner as a 3-year-old. Hasn't really, it's kind of struggled in some spots, but had some nice races last year. Just didn't quite get the job done. I'm willing to draw a line through the Henry Clark where it just kind of didn't go well from the start. That effort 2 back at the Fairgrounds was solid. Now comes here third off the layoff. I think this is kind of a new face here that could be an interesting player. So I'm going to use Neat and Cosmic Year 4 and 7 in this spot.
I'm certainly with you on Cosmic Year. That form stacks up incredibly well against these. I mean, this is a horse that was second in the Irish Guineas, for goodness sake. The only thing seemed like the form is so good, I thought maybe the spotting suggests, well, horse is certainly going to be short of his best. That could that be good enough? Probably, but it did make me want to try to get a little bit creative. Another one I liked a bit, enough to use, probably more for underneath, but I will use for a penny on top. The 8-runner Sherlock's Jewel. There was no running last time. I was not crazy about the ride. I thought the race 2 back was really good. We're sort of reserved off a race that, based on the flow figure anyway, would have been advantageous to horses on or near the lead, made that big middle move and still finished. So I was going to have a little bit of 8 as well. 178 for me, 4-7 for Eric. Really interesting running of the Cliffhanger. And yeah, I'm just sort of hoping There Are No Words will be. It's a longer layoff than last year, but I was hoping it wasn't just a comeback spot, but it might be. You're right. Historically, that's been the pattern. Hopefully it contributes to a price. We end up with another stakes race. I guess you could say the co-feature on the day, Jersey Derby. These 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. When it comes to this late pick 5 and all the late picks on Saturday, Eric, how are we going to get paid?
So I guess this race kind of comes down to what do you think about the maiden winner, King's Remark here, who's the 2-1 morning favorite coming in from Miguel Clement. Obviously, it was a strong effort. Last to first winner at Aqueduct and pretty slowish pace though. So I think it was a pretty solid win to come and win going away. Another horse, obviously, by Kingman. So sort of makes some sense. I'm going to use this one, but I'm going to be a little more conservative with this one because I think there's a couple other horses that could be a decent price in this spot that I think maybe didn't have their best shot last time out. I'm going to make the 4 Zephyros the top pick. Was a maiden winner on synthetic 2-back, went to the English Channel, and it was just a pretty miserable trip for this one. It was squeezed out of the gate, and I had to force the steady twice down the backside. Had some run, had to tap on the brakes a little bit before he could kind of on the turn, but still finished with interest to be third in that spot. So, I mean, to me, I saw 3 or 4 points of trouble, and for this one as a younger horse to still be third, beaten less than 3 lengths, tells me that I think this one has some more to offer in this spot.
Yep.
Obviously, Mark Cassie, if he's bringing a horse here, worth looking. He's got 2 in this spot. This is the one I prefer. The other horse I think is a little bit interesting. Third Coast, well-bred horse by Glen Hill Farm. Tom Proctor trains this one. Marketing mix, multiple Grade 1 winning mare. This horse took some money at Keeneland in Allowance Company. Debut was a solid win at Tampa. Took some money, ran well. I had a little bit of trouble in the stretch there. Kind of had blocked a little bit. Ran on well. Kind of didn't look too thrilled to try and split rivals in that race, which I can kind of look past that because Proctor's horses tend to get better with some more seasoning. The fact that they're bringing this one here, moving this one into a listed stakes, tells me that I think that they have a high opinion of this horse. I think this one is another horse that makes sense to move forward in the spot. So I'm going to go 4-8 on top, and I'll use the 3 horse, the Miguel Clement shipper King's Remark.
Yeah, King's Remark is one that it is a classic, like keep on side, but really try to beat to me. Nothing against the horse, just I think there's a lot of interesting ones, and you highlighted many of the ones I was going to talk about that that might just be able to step up and get the job done. I listed my picks. One I listed on top, actually, you didn't mention. Just I felt like the 6 Aces Honor could get a very different kind of trip here. The horse I thought made a little, just enough of a middle move into the fast pace in the Transylvania. Now coming back here as a gelding, had shown speed in the past. Could there be a sneaky pace play for this Code of Honor gelding? Maybe, just maybe. And I'm thinking this horse might be longer than the 4-1 of the morning line. Maybe not. Maybe coming out of the stake is going to catch money. But I thought Ace's Honor was definitely worth keeping on side. I absolutely agree with you about the trip on Third Coast. And then a horse I've been following since before Ascot, the black type runner, Azizam. This horse has not done everything I was hoping, let's put it that way, in these last couple of starts, but I think we're getting I think it's fair to say a tiny class drop maybe in this spot, and I've just always liked him since that big run in the Windsor Castle, and I wanted to keep on side. So I wrote down 6, 8, and 7. I absolutely get the actually, I said the numbers wrong, didn't I? I wanted it 6, 4, and 7. Got to get that right for the notes I send around to In the Money Plus. But I can see the 8. I can see the 3. It's a spready edition of the Jersey Derby. Any other? I didn't prep you for this one, but I imagine you've looked at it all. Any other strong opinions anywhere else in the card today? Anything we should give out, or should we just direct people to go to the website inthemoneypodcast.com?
I knew we were coming on, so I kind of went backwards through the card today. So I really didn't get to the first couple. So it's
they can check out the website.
That's on my after work agenda this afternoon. So I'm gonna sneak over to the Penn Mile, and then that's after that I'll be hammering out those few races.
Are you good? You're actually going to go to the Penn Mile, or you're going to?
I mean it's it's a nice day. It's 25 minutes down the road, so
that's awesome.
That's right, other than fighting traffic to get there for the 5 o'clock post time, we'll be all right.
Excellent. Well, feel free, send out if you have any thoughts to share on that card later. Send them out on Twitter. Where can people find you there?
It is the guy at the spot. The handle is Eric Solomon 718 at Twitter. So I'll we'll see if there's something that strikes me there.
Yeah, no obligation.
But it's the Penn Mile. I thought it came up pretty nice with both Alpe Land and Honey Dutch coming in, and Penn Oaks looks decent. I think I'll shoot it out on Twitter. I think there's a longer price horse than that race that looked a little
Nice.
bit interesting, but I don't have that in front of me, so I'll throw that up on Twitter.
Yeah, that's evening racing tonight, of course, Friday night there. Build your bankroll from Monmouth. Get involved. Maybe try to qualify for the Pick Your Prize contest. Hit the Pick 5. Have a great time. That's my plan anyway. Eric, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you.
My pleasure. Take care. Have a good one.
Thanks so one more time to Eric. Thanks to everybody out there for subscribing to the In the Money Media YouTube channel. I think we're going to make our 16,000 by Belmont Stakes, which would be really cool. Make sure you subscribe. Drop us a comment. Give us your best bet on this Monmouth Saturday card.